All right, so let me tell you about Robert. In addition to, I just learned today that he went to UC San Diego. So, this guy must be pretty smart to make it there and actually graduate when he has a beautiful beach right down the road. He's got to be focused as well. He is the public information officer for El Monte City School District. That's in Los Angeles, correct, Robert?
Mhm.
Yes. And according to his bio, he's committed to ensuring that accurate and equitable information reaches the community he serves. What a great way to start your bio. I love that as a first line. He values transparency and honesty in communication and actively works on building systems and capacity within the organization to strengthen outreach efforts. I would imagine internships are just one of those systems that we'll be talking about. In today's fast paced school communications landscape, small PR teams often seek cost effective ways to revamp and expand their strategies. This presentation highlights the compelling reasons why interns are a valuable resource. They provide affordable support and inject fresh, innovative perspectives into your team. They offer specific insights into new strategies and practices, particularly in the ever changing digital realm. Robert will also provide invaluable insights into the reality of working with interns, which can be really different from what we imagine it will be from my experience, and guide you on seamlessly implementing the internship process from recruitment to supervision. So, without further ado, I'm going to first welcome Calsper leader. She doesn't have a title on here, but Jackie Dillard, who is our president elect. And by the way, Jackie's in charge of our conferences here, so it's going to be amazing. And so we'll have more sessions like Robert's. I know there's at least one more internship session. So, in addition to what we'll be hearing about today. So, if that's on your agenda to get started, you're going to have lots of information from CalSPRE going forward. All right. Take it away, Robert. We can't wait to hear about it.
All right. Thank you, Trinette, and thank you, CalSPRE leader Jackie over there. So that's thank you everyone joining us today. I'm going to share my screen right now. We can get into it. Hopefully, everybody had a decent lunch and their Tuesday is going pretty well. There we go. All right. My presenting is all up there. Yeah, it's great. So, I'm Robert Dozmati. We'll get into a little introduction about me in a second here. I am here to just talk to you guys about possibly starting an internship program. I'm finishing up my second year. We're already recruiting for my third year crop of interns. I was just explaining to Trinette before everybody came in that it started off as I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of had this idea. I'd like interns mainly because I thought that A, well, we all need extra help whenever we can get it. And then B, I know I have some ideas, but young people make things popular, and I want to find out how we can continue catering to a younger demographic of parents, because at the end of the day, we get older, our parents kind of stay within a similar age group. And so if I can get interns that are kind of close to that age group of what our incoming parents will look like, maybe we can find ways to attract them. So those were kind of my ideas. And now the internship program has gotten really popular here at the district, to the point to which I no longer have to go to HR to tell them I'd like to start recruiting. They are now coming to me and saying, hey, we're going to start recruiting because we need to get applications in so you can interview so they can start on time. So that's what's possible if it works out really well. And I'm hoping to be able to share that info. At any point, do you have questions? You don't have to wait till the end. We can just kind of go through it all. Now, before I start, I did want to be able to see who was all in the room. I know I see names, but I wanted to just throw a little question out there. So if you can introduce yourself, if that's okay, can people unmute? Is that okay, Trinette, to be able to give an answer?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So the question I have for everybody, I should have put on the screen, I'll put it in the chat. It is going to be, if you could shop at any store for free for the rest of your life, which would it be? So if you just want to give me your name and then tell me what store, a quick reason why, and then we can do that. And if we just go through and everybody unmute and do that, just to be able to lighten things up. So shop at any store for free for the rest of your life. What would it be? I will go first to give you all that, quick second to think about it. The store I would choose would probably be REI, if I'm being completely honest, just because if you don't know what REI is, it's a like recreational outdoor, I can't think of the last thing, but it's a store that sells a bunch of outdoor equipment for camping and all that good stuff. Think Bass Pro, but smaller. And as an outdoorsy person, that's where I would like to go. So, Trinette, I'm going to put you on the spot here to go next, if you don't mind. So, what store?
Oh, this was an easy one for me. Costco, 1000%.
Yes,
I
Costco.
spend so much money there. I go in there for one thing and I rarely walk out with less than at least 10 items.
Yeah. Yes. And it keeps getting more expensive now as we keep going back, right? So, yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
So I know we got Michelle. It's okay. I understand some of us are probably multitasking. I do my best to do that as well. Um, Michelle from Carmel Unified, Trader Joe's. Love that. Love some Trader Joe's. There you go. Jacqueline, was it Dillard? I know. I see. I'm just going down the list here. So yeah, where were we going?
I am torn between Target because I can get everything from clothing to groceries to toys and whatnot to Nordstrom because I like Nordstrom. But yeah, logical side of me says Target.
Bingo. There we go. You don't all have to do logical too. You can have those little those desires that you want wherever we want to shop. Is it Naomi? Is that how am I saying that right?
Naomi.
Naomi, apologies.
Hi, I'm Naomi Hunter, and it's a hard choice for me too. I kind of fleetingly thought about Pottery Barn, but then really once your house is furnished, it's furnished. So I think I would have to say Whole Foods because I eat every single day. They've got good food, they've got good takeout food, they've got good wine, and they even have some housewares and personal items. So, well, it's not clothing. That's probably the majority of what I consume in an average month.
Love it. No, Whole Foods, that's actually good too. They have good sandwiches too. Right. So when I used to work at Fox Sports Radio and there's a Whole Foods right across the street, and I would go there for like lunch almost every day to get their little sandwich deal for like $7. So can't go wrong with a focaccia sandwich for $7.
I
So
work a block away from Whole Foods now, so yeah, same here.
yeah. All right. So thank you for sharing. And then I think is it Jada Chu? Jada? Am I saying that right? I don't know if she can hear me.
I would probably say Amazon. I think they have everything, and then I also don't have to leave my house.
There you go.
I don't go to the store, so
Yes, absolutely. Amazon. Yeah. I expect that to be a popular pick. The pandemic changed our shopping habits. We like to stay home, so it's great. Natalie?
Well, I'm just going to change my mind. I was going to go back and forth between Amazon, which a good chunk of my paycheck goes to, but I think I have to stick with Costco because you can buy diamonds, jewelry, travel, a car. So I think I got to stick with Costco.
Awesome. I should say Costco too, but then I just go there for free samples, and that could be a problem. I do want to share Lynette White's. She is also multitasking, but she's torn between Target and Nordstrom as well. So I love Nordstrom getting some love. All right, we're almost through the list here. Here we go with Amy, if you're able to share.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I missed the prompt. I apologize.
No, it's no problem. It's just if you could shop at any store for free for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's such a hard one. I most often weekly shop at Costco, so that
There
would
we go.
really simple.
Are we taking tallies of votes? It looks like Costco is winning here. I love it. All right, thank you. And then Mallory. Or not Mary, yeah, Mallory or Susan. Anybody want to share? We're getting bigger here too. We can also put stuff in the chat if you'd like as well. So we'll probably do that. I'll give a couple more answers if anybody else wants to share, and then we'll move on because I know you're here to learn something. So I think we're good. We're good. All right. Well, I think the prompt was fun. I think Costco wins at the end of the day. I've had this question asked in another group, and Costco was overwhelmingly number one. I don't know how many times you can buy giant inflatable water slides, but more power to you. So But here we go. So amplifying impact, what we're here for. Today's presentation, hopefully if it goes through, okay, let me see here. There we go, yep, there we go. So I'll share this at the end too, but if you need more info, other tips, or want to, leave me some constructive feedback, you can scan that code right there. That is all my contact information. I know it'll also be shared afterwards, so I like to give that to people if they want it. And we'll share this presentation afterwards. Love starting all my presentations with a quote. This one in particular is from Toni Morrison. She's the Nobel Prize winner for the book Beloved, if you've never read it. But I always feel like if you start it with a fun little quote, it kind of gets everyone thinking. And when I kind of look at all of our positions, especially this quote kind of speaks to me. So you'll be in positions that matter, positions in which you can decide the nature and quality of other people's lives. Your errors may be irrevocable. So when you enter those places of trust or power, dream a little before you think. Okay. And a lot of us are in communication and in public information, and a lot of our jobs is to provide information to those that will ultimately affect their lives in one way or another, especially with the way communication is kind of evolving, especially for schools in particular. COVID kind of really shifted everything from just being, here's what we're doing as a school, and now, at least for my district anyways, it is more, here's what you might need, what resources, what things we can connect you with for you to have a better quality of life. At least that's what our parents rely on us for now. And so when I think of this quote from Toni Morrison, it's really just dreaming a little before we think, because I think a lot of the times we're in this mode of, well, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to get out there, and it's okay to have a little fun and think bigger once in a while. So I take that every day into the work that I do, and the internship kind of sprouted from this idea of a dream of having a space for me to kind of get my teacher bug out a little bit, because I was trying to be a teacher for a long time, and then COVID happened and now I'm in this role. So how could I still do that while also giving others the opportunity to kind of build their own careers and move on? And this is where kind of the idea of sprouting the internship program started. And so, yeah. All right, so today's topics. We'll go through a little introduction about me, even though you kind of know most of it, so we'll probably skip through that. I'll introduce you to my current internship team, and then we'll go into like the nitty gritty, how I got it approved, what you can do, what a recruitment looks like, what work expectations are going to look like. I will be 100% honest with you. It does get harder before it gets easier, especially if you have never had an internship program or never have worked with interns before. There's a major learning curve. And so that is something that I'll dive into a little bit and hopefully give you that information. And then just the reality of what interns are like, and then really trusting them and guiding them. It's not that scary. It might sound scary, but it's actually been a lot of fun. I really love the internship program. And then also if you have any questions, and then I'm kind of meticulous and I like things to be in order. So that's just there. Like I said, space filler for all of you. So yeah. So at any point, like I said earlier, if you have a question, feel free to, I guess, raise your hand or throw it in the chat. I can't see the chat in this presentation right now. So if there's anything in there, Jacqueline or Trinette, you can always interrupt me as well. So
We got you, Robert.
Thank you. All right. So who am I? I'm Robert Dozmati, the Public Information Officer for Monte City School District. We are located in LA County, about 20 minutes from downtown LA. A little bit about me. I enjoy hiking, and as it says, they're complaining about hiking while hiking. But let's be honest, my wife likes hiking, so therefore I like hiking. She also likes camping, and therefore I like camping. And so you just kind of adopt the hobbies of your partner. She does the same for me. I like astronomy, so she will look through a telescope once in a while when I ask her to. So, that's what real partnership is. I also enjoy reading and playing video games and hanging out with my cats. I didn't want cats either. My wife wanted cats, and now we have cats. So, but they've been great, and I've loved every minute of it. But like probably many of us, I started my career in entertainment and news, specifically in sports radio entertainment and sports television, and eventually kind of found my way. Got great, became a producer, all that fun stuff, and then I realized it wasn't that fun anymore, and I was substitute teaching at the time, and I really enjoyed that more, and so I decided I wanted to go into education, and I got hired here in 2020, and this is all it's been. I actually worked where Natalie is now, I actually helped them with some communication during COVID initially. That's kind of where I got my start. I was teaching at Alhambra Unified. Yes, and Natalie, I believe you were a principal at the time. So, you know, and this position at El Monte opened up and I came here, and then a position opened up at Alhambra and Natalie got there. So, woo, the Alhambra peeps love it. So, these are my current crop of interns. These are the Gen Zers behind our content. In the middle there is Gabriella, and on the right is Jasmine. Gabriella is currently in her master's program at USC for public relations and communication, and Jasmine is finishing her sophomore year at Cal State Fullerton public relations. So, and funny enough, Gabriella also did her undergrad at Cal State Fullerton. So, like I said, it's been really awesome. I've been very lucky to have this internship program, and I've been really lucky to get awesome interns so far. I kind of feel like if you're willing to apply and work at a school district, there's a level of like, all right, this is going to be a little more work than your average internship might be, because we're dealing with real people all the time. And this position, at least for me anyways, and for many of us, we're not always, at least I'm not always stuck behind a desk. A lot of it is being at schools, because I am for the most part a one person show with my 2 part-time interns. But they've been very great. They've elevated our content. They have really ingrained themselves as part of the community. They both live locally, but funny enough, they didn't go to our schools. So they offer a different perspective because they both went to private schools for elementary school when they were living here. So that kind of changed their perspective because they only knew private school. And now I think Gabriella has a sibling. She goes to school here. Her mom's perspective on everything has changed in this district. And so they're really happy to be part of it. And they're kind of my ambassadors to their friends and family members. You know, you don't need to send them to the local private school. Send them to your local school because they're doing really awesome stuff. But at the end of the day, they're young, they're smart, and they have a pulse on what young people like, and that's what I think we need in this profession. So they do a lot of good stuff. These are just some recent trends. This is always fun. They do a lot of other great content too, but this is the fun stuff that I like sharing. Hopefully this doesn't blow your speakers off, but these are just a few examples of the fun little content that we push out. Here's one that we did during registration for our new student enrollment. Trend, Bill Hader trend. That good stuff. The audio still coming through okay? Yep, we're good. Awesome. This was we have a TK Readiness Academy, and it's always fun to poke fun of ourselves. And I told my interns, I was like, I want to poke fun of ourselves because we have nobody signing up for it. How do I get more people? And their idea was throwing, you know, Pedro Pascal's pretty face out there, and we did this. And it worked. It was shared 44 times, which for us as a local school district is great numbers. It actually did really well. I think it reached, I think like 9,000 people locally for us, which is very large compared to other things we've done. Here was a way to promote our after school program. We kind of poking fun at our own parents.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So yeah, we're very lucky to have a no-cost after-school program. I know we have ELOP funding that's really changed it for everybody. We've been doing that for a long time before that because we're a Title I school, and majority of our families are part of that low-income tier, so it means we get a little more funding. So my district, I've been very fortunate to be part of a district that's very forward-thinking and family-centric, and so now it's kind of flipping that on its head and making sure that everybody knows about it. And then our most recent one, with this most recent trend, it just kind of lined up perfectly. We have 14 schools. We all became Lighthouse Leadership Schools as part of the Leader in Me Foundation, and we got to push this out there, and this was a lot of fun as well.
Spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that's what we do. All right. So yeah, we put it out there, put the fun content out there. Parents love it. Students especially love it. And that's my favorite part, is that the kids love seeing this stuff. So, but they do more than just make memes. They do a lot of other things that help our community and help our staff, really. They write for the local paper. And so we do have a local paper here, and I write stories along with them. they kind of publish an article a week almost, or every other week. So they go out, they get to interview students, interview staff members, and do a lot of storytelling for us at a local level. These articles get published, like I said, in the local paper. We also send it out as part of our newsletters and updates to families. We post different versions of them as well on social media. So content is living in multiple places. And they also do something that's very popular in our district. It's called the Pop Culture Minute. This is specifically for staff. And what it is they dissect and kind of compile the latest pop culture news, and they send it out to our staff so they know kind of what their kids and what their students are ingesting for the most part, right? So what new trend is on TikTok that they might have to kind of worry about or possibly see on their campus. One of the big things that's really popular about it is that they have a slang portion of it. So what they do is they define certain slang terms that either Gen Z or Gen Alpha might be using. And then they give examples of that, and we send that to our teachers. I've gotten a lot of feedback from staff. I've seen it too, that staff have like notebooks or whatever of the words that we put in there. And so the staff really enjoy it. So my interns are really helpful in that context, because I don't know what skibbity means or any of these terms mean half the time. So they keep me young, and they keep our staff young. And what I've learned too is that a lot of our staff members actually go through the Pop Culture Minute with their classes. And so the kids kind of talk about it together. So now there's been a kind of an ask that it goes to parents. So I'm trying to navigate how that might look for the parent perspective, to also keep our parents informed of what information they're ingesting. So if you just simply want to be younger, more hip and fun, that's my argument for why you should have interns. Now, let's get into the real part. So I do like to throw in interjections and like kind of use GIFs and memes to kind of break up the conversation, because I don't always like talking. So you'll see little GIFs for the movie references. If you want to humor me, if anyone can tell me what this is from, and you can do this each time. If this was in person, I would have a prize to give you, but I can't do that virtually. But I'll give you a hand clap. So does anybody have any idea? You can put it in the chat, or you could just raise your hand and unmute yourself and holler if you know what this is from. Anybody? Spider-Verse, we're close. Is it Into the Spider-Verse? It is Spider. Jacqueline right away. She knows. Weren't you part of my other one? That's cheating, Jackie. You're admin. You got to see his presentation beforehand. So yeah, that is from Into the Spider-Verse. This is so what do you think about pitching it? What to think about before pitching it to your supervisor? So I had to kind of put it all together and figure out, well, what do I want to bring? I can't just simply ask. I want interns. I need to know certain answers to certain questions. And these were the questions that I got asked when I decided to pitch it. And one of them was the why questions, right? The big why. Why? What is it exactly that I'm trying to accomplish? Why do I need it outside of the obvious answer? I need help. I would love for that to be the only viable answer, but we do kind of have to give more context to that. So thinking about your why is going to be really important when you decide to pitch it to whoever your supervisor might be, whether that's your superintendent or your director or whoever it could be. What I will say is, for the most part, if they're paying attention, they know that you can use the help. And if you're considering an internship program, they should be on board with it, but every district is different. So, but answering that why question, what exactly it is that you want to build, and we'll go into how I answered the why in a second. Having a plan and a clear vision is something that you're going to want as well. Like, exactly what are your outcomes? What are you hoping to actually achieve with this program? You want to have that built in, and we'll go over what I had used for that as well. But having it is all the details down to, I wanted to start here and I wanted to end here if possible, right? I had that developed for mine. I knew I wanted them for a year if possible. And what I wanted is I wanted them to come in January or February, because I want them to help us with our enrollment campaign so they can learn during that process. And then when we come to our summer enrollment campaign, which historically for my district is when we get a lot of influx from our community to enroll kids, I want them ready to go, and that they know the tools and what needs to be done. And that also leads them into the start of school, and they can help me build all the communication that goes for that. So that's why I specifically chose my program to run from January to December. Some go from, I understand why people might want them to start in the summer. to build into it. But what I really wanted was my team to be ready to go, aware of systems, have relationships with principals and teachers and staff already for when the new school year starts. And then I also get to use the summer as a training module for training them how to build videos, edit more content, Photoshop, Adobe, all that good stuff. We do a lot of that at the end of spring and into summer. So that way, when they come into now, they're pretty much autonomous and they know exactly what they need to do. And then working closely with your HR or personnel team, whoever's going to help you with the hiring. I have the luxury of being right down the hall from my HR team, and they're a great crop of ladies in there. And I'm always in there kind of picking their brain. And I brought them into the process, if I'm being completely honest. I came in, I didn't know what I was doing. I sat down with my assistant superintendent of personnel, along with his HR manager and the rest of the team. And I go, how can I go about this? What's the best way I could do this? And just using their expertise. And for me, what I think that did was it kind of gave them buy-in to it as well. Because they went, okay, I want to be part of this, and he wants these things, and this is how he's going to navigate it, and how can we help him do it? And like I said earlier, now they're coming to me going, hey, Fullerton reached out, Cal State Fullerton, we've hired two of their students as interns now. Now they want to build a partnership, and they're going to start sending us recruits. And that's going to happen, I believe, at the end of this month, like interviews and applicants, right? So we're trying to build a partnership with them for it to be an accredited program, and we pay them. So it's kind of a nice little combination. And that was all done through my HR team going out there and helping me build that relationship. And now like they want it as much as I do, which is great. So, and the last one, if developing a high school-based internship, you'll probably need to coordinate that with your student support services or ed services team. I don't have the luxury of having a high school. I'm just a K-8 district. So for us, or at least for me over here at Dozmati, I'm using college students. And the main way that I had to attract college students, and this was the big thing of working with my HR team and closely, was I was trying to use them and get their help on how do I make this a paid internship. And they helped me navigate that as well, because gas is expensive, everything is expensive. So, and also if I don't have to have someone work for free, I don't want them to work for free. So I was an unpaid intern in college. It was terrible. I worked for a radio station and was reporting to work at 4 o'clock in the morning for a show I didn't like, and was there till 10 a.m. and had to go to a class about pirates afterwards. And I slept through. Yeah, it was called The History of Piracy. And most people might think, oh, it's about, internet piracy and viruses. No, this was a class about pirates. Captain Morgan was a real person. He's not just a rum bottle. He was an actual pirate that operated throughout what is now near Cuba and all that stuff. So yeah, I have a big old textbook at home about all the pirates from, I don't know, year 1600 up until like early 1800s. So that's what I was doing at UC San Diego. So Trinette, you might have said, oh, he's smart to pass UC San Diego. Your boy took a history of pirates class and archery. So, I had a lot of different things at UC San Diego. So yeah, any questions so far? I think we're okay. I see the chat now. I think no questions. Everybody good?
I have a
Jackie's
question.
got a question.
Okay, yeah.
You mentioned that this was a paid internship, which is amazing. I'm just curious if you looked into also offering college credit and partnering with the university or local college for that? And if so, how did that go anywhere?
So to answer your question, we tried in the beginning. When I first launched it, we had a student from Cal State LA and the other one from Cal State Northridge. And Cal State LA, I was trying to work with their career center and their one of their counseling groups or whatever to try to figure out how to do the crediting process, but they had questions about it being a paid internship, so the conversation never really developed from there. It kind of just went flat. And so I try to work with our local community college here, which is Rio Hondo College, and kind of similar. Once payment got thrown around, things kind of got a little fuzzy. But just recently, Cal State Fullerton was the one that jumped on board, and they said, yeah, we want to provide credit to your kids, and we don't care if you're paying them, right? So we're doing that now. It took a year and a half, but we're now figuring it out. And the process is not too hard because it was my HR team meeting up with their career center, and they have now developed the portal for their students to apply, and that is now credited as far as I understand. And so what that process is really just being handled by Cal State Fullerton. The only thing we need to do is provide the job description and a link to apply. Everything else was done on their end. Now, I don't know if that's just because they decided to take it upon themselves. I also told one of my interns that, hey, I want you to get credit, but they're not answering my emails. Can you go into the office and tell them you want credit? And so she did. And this is kind of how it all blossomed, if I'm being completely honest, is my intern went down there and was like, he said I can get credit. He wants me to earn credit. What can we do? And that finally got me on the phone with somebody to be able to build it. So it is kind of a little bit of hoop jumping, at least for us it was in the beginning. Like I said, especially with Cal State LA, I didn't really get anywhere with them. And then even our local community college, no. But now Cal State Fullerton, it is now a credited internship program. I think they get like 2 credits for being part of it or something like that. So, but to answer your question, I wanted to. It was hard to do at first, but now it worked. So yeah.
Awesome.
And they're paid, and that's the cool part. So they get both. Any other questions before I move on?
Robert, I put this in the chat too, but I was wondering, are you paying them hourly, and is there a certain number? Are they a salaried employee? Do you put them on a consultant contract? How are you paying them?
So they are, so we have some, I can't remember exactly how my assistant super HR explained it to me, but they are hourly. They're contracted hourly. They are not allowed to work more than 20 hours a week. They are limited to that capacity. And like that is like a strict rule, because they can't, because if they're going to work a year, they can't work more than 20 hours a week, because they're classified as an intern. What I understand that if they go above that, they have to be reclassified. So we can't do that, right? So, but we do pay them hourly. It's not a consulting contract. They're actually an employee of the district. They just filed them under a specialty clause in their classified department. If your HR department wants to find out how, I can put you in contact with ours and they can explain the nuances of that more. But they are paid hourly. They get paid on a monthly basis though, just like they follow the same time schedule as our substitute teachers. So that's the pay schedule that they follow. But yeah, I hope I answered your question. So yeah. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, Robert.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Follow up. Do they have set hours, or is it they're depending on the events of the month, and then you just track how many hours?
So they do. So what I do is I build out their schedule with them about 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance. So I have just a Excel sheet for the whole year, and essentially we go in and plug and play. So they kind of, if you ever had like a part-time job, right? It's like sending your schedule, your available hours to your boss, and then hopefully they release the schedule to you. I sit down with them and build their schedules out. And the other tricky part is they're here to learn, and school is the priority, right? So they don't always get to 20 hours a week. Now I try to get them there because I want them to be paid, but if they aren't available because of school, they aren't available because of school. And it's just the reality of it. And so we sit down, I build schedules out, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And that's also co-aligned with like event schedules that I already know. All the principals, all my principals and directors share their calendars with me, especially the principals. So their school calendars of events, I have access to all that in my Google Calendar. So what I do is once a week, we kind of add an additional week, 2 weeks later of this is what's coming up. What are your schedules like? Are you available? And then we kind of plug and play from there. And then at that point, that's how we build the schedule.
You.
Of course. Any other questions? Anything else? Here we go. What coordination was necessary with the local newspaper to feature your interns' writing? So that idea actually came from my previous district down Hamburg Unified. They also had a partnership with the local newspaper. And so when I came here, I loved that idea. And I was like, okay, do we have one? We did. And it was simply reaching out to the editor. And I said, hey, I'd love to be able to give you guys content. It's a local paper. It's a free paper. Everyone who contributes to it is volunteer anyways. And so I just asked, do you want some content from the district? And he said, absolutely, right? He goes, we'll take anything you're willing to give us. We'd love it. It's hard to get information because he has to write, most of the articles himself. So he was just happy to have any information to tell them about the district. We also advertise in there as well. So that's kind of how we support the local paper, is we throw advertisements into it. But for coordination, it was just simply a phone call and saying, I can provide you information and stories. Do you want them or not? And he said 100%. And that's kind of how the relationship started. And that's where we are now. And so, and really it's the interns write whatever they want to write about. Either I send them on a story. Most of the time it's me assigning them a story and they go reach out to people. I'm teaching them how to interview, right? How to introduce themselves. That's all part of the process. And then they write the articles and then I edit them and review them. And then I'm the one actually sending it to the editor of the paper, to which he looks through. If he's happy with it, he publishes it. So, yeah. And then I give my interns the byline because I want them to be moving on to bigger and greater things. And I want them to have, you know, actual examples of the stuff that they're doing so they can showcase it in their portfolios and all that good stuff. Any other questions before we move on? I hope I answered your question, Naomi. All right, cool. So buildings, anybody know what this is from? I think it's a classic meme. I'm gonna put it out there. Have any idea, right? Having a plan, no one writing, we'll see. But yeah, so this is, I'll give everyone a couple seconds. But building said, when building your program, right, it's just keeping it personal to your district, incorporating elements of your district's mission, vision, and values. This is what I meant when I mentioned earlier about having a plan, having a specific goals for that plan, and how do you get that buy-in from your staff. For me, it was really going, if I can incorporate what we're trying to accomplish as a district and build it into my internship program, why would my bosses say no? Right. And so that's kind of how I approached the pitch meeting that I went into, and using Always Sunny in Philadelphia over here. That's kind of what I look like on a daily basis. My hair is just a little longer. I erased actually my board. There's a board behind me that had a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I need to erase most of that because it looked pretty crazy. But so this is our mission statement right now. We're actually in the process of possibly updating, but this was the mission statement at the time. EMCSD, in partnership with students, families, and the community, cultivates leadership, creativity, and educational excellence by creating multiple opportunities for learning. We develop students' unique abilities to succeed, contribute positively in our diverse society. I simply took this mission statement, went into my superintendent, and go, why does this only have to apply to students? Why can't we think bigger? This should apply to anybody and everybody. That should apply to our families. This should apply, we have community schools on the horizon. We're hoping that that becomes a bigger thing. We want to really create multiple opportunities for learning for everybody. And I would love to start an internship program in hopes that we can tap into our local community, our students, our families, and give them an opportunity to not only give back to us, but learn from what we know and then take that and learn beyond. Didn't really take much convincing. My superintendent was all on board. But that's essentially what I went into when it came to my thought process. It's like, I read our mission statement and I go, it doesn't just have to be students. It can be bigger than just students. It can be more than that. It should be our employees as well. We should want them to excel, grow, and lead better lives and become even more powerful, stronger, smarter professionals. And so that's kind of where I came from when I built mine. And this is where we went from there. So now, I said this earlier, we want to avoid just saying like that we're overworked, right? I didn't put that in there. Instead, I wanted to share, how do I show that either I've got a lot of work, a lot on my plate. Every director and every assistant superintendent, they all have these great initiatives and plans, and they will most likely all come to you as the communication person and going, hey, help me get this out there, or help me build this. And like, if you're anything like me, you're a people pleaser most likely because you're in this role and you don't necessarily want to tell people you don't have capacity for things. Instead, I visualized it for them. And the way we did that, or at least I did it, and how you can do it, is you can create something called an accountability matrix, which is really just honestly a fancy phrase for a list of all the crap you do every single day. That's what an accountability matrix is. It's just tasks, committees you're part of, the number of meetings you attend per week, the content calendar for your schools on your social media, how many school events that you're hoping to go to. We have 14 schools. I'm one person. Our schools don't always think about if another school is doing an event. They usually all choose the same day for things. I can't get to all of them. I need help getting there. How can I do that? Well, outside of me hiring 2 extra staff members was what my ultimate goal was, internship is what I fell on. And so it was cost effective for them and also gives me bodies and help and I get to teach, right? So if you don't have an accountability matrix or you just don't have something that lists out whatever it is that you do on a daily basis, because I know we're all doing a lot more than either writing press releases and doing social media posts. We all have our hands in everything. And so you want to be able to list that out because you want people to know what you're doing. And that really helped. And I visualized it for my team or my bosses. And they're like, okay, yeah, you're in like 9 meetings a week. That makes sense. You can't, if I need you in a meeting, you can't go to a school, vice versa, right? So, showcasing the department goals, I showed them where we were. Like, this is the content we're pushing out, or this is how much we're pushing out. This is how much I want us to push out. This is what I want to accomplish. And that really visualized it for me because my superintendent, she also was like, hey, how do we get out there more often? And I go, well, I need content, but I also need time to edit and create the content. And so how can we do that? And this is where the interns came in as well. And then the last one, like I said before, incorporating district or leadership goals. So I took from a management meeting that we had, and we wanted to boost district culture, do community-based storytelling, and create pipelines for success, right? These were things that were brought together in a focus group. So I essentially took that and then represented it to my admin and said, I think we need to hire more help as part of the communication department. If I can get interns, this is what I'm hoping for because I think they're going to help us boost district culture. We want to do storytelling. We want to be able to tell our stories and share all the great things that we're doing. And I need help to do that because, like I said, 14 schools, and then creating pipelines for success. We do a really great job of hiring from within and pushing out. So that's what I wanted to do. And so, like I said, I just kind of flipped the script on their management activity and presented it back to them this way. And this is how I got. I didn't have to do too much convincing. I don't want to sit there and pretend that I had to plead my case, but I had all this stuff ready in case they had any questions, right? So, but I'm very lucky to have a supportive assistant superintendent cabinet team, and it's been very lucky. So we all know this movie, I think, right? Yeah, people look at So now what? They approved it. They approved your internship, and now you're stuck in this mode like I was, where I went, holy crap, I'm gonna have a team. I don't even have a space for them. I don't know how this is gonna work. So I don't know why it's doing this, but okay. So it's approved. I needed to get applicants. That was the first part, right? So I think Jackie, you'd asked, how did I, kind of the partnership with colleges and all that good stuff. I was looking with HR, go, hey, do we already have kind of job board stuff that's out there? They said yes. And so I started posting it on those job boards to try to recruit. So that was Rio Hondo College, Cal State LA, I believe other local colleges, they were all listed on there. So I built out the job description, put it on there for them. On top of that, I started contacting communications departments and asking the directors of communications departments and saying, I'm starting an internship program. Is there any way that you would advertise it or market to your students? And a lot of them said yes. And so they started pushing it out there. I sent them the job application. They shared it with students and we had applicants that way. This was actually, I think, our best way of doing it is our staff and community newsletters. Just a heads up, in general, if you aren't using like a community newsletter to advertise job opportunities in your district, I think you're missing out on a huge talent pool there. A lot of the people that work in our district and many districts, they are community members that work there. And any community newsletter I put out, at the bottom, there is always a jobs available because we're always hiring positions. And there's always job listings there from our latest jobs. And I will tell you that consistently, it is the most clicked portion of our newsletter every single time we push one out. So if you're looking or struggling with recruitment or trying to get people hired into your district, if you are not sending job opportunities directly to your families, I think you're missing out on that. So that's just a little tidbit for you there. If you're not doing that, please do it. There's a lot of talented people that are within 20 minutes of you. So, and this is how I actually got to my interns, because They were family members that forwarded my flyer to their nieces, essentially, and that's how I got hired. And then the last one, social media as well. One of my interns, the reason I got hired is because Santa Monica Community College, which is 20 miles away from us, they saw it somehow and they reposted it. It blew up, and I got applicants from Santa Monica Community College, right? So I used all 4 of these kind of things to put it out there, and that's how I got people applying. So that was my recruitment tactics. Outside of that, I'm going to be honest with you. When I hired them, it went well. The interview process, everyone interviews and hires differently. For me, I was just told from HR that it's all up to me because it's an internship program. I'm a vibes guy, and so I look at it as they're interns. They're not going to be experts. I don't expect them to be experts. I just want them willing to learn and that they care a little bit about education, and they will learn most of it along the way. It's been going really well so far. Like I said, vibes guy, come in. Why'd you apply in the first place? And what are you kind of hoping to figure out? And what do you know about schools and PR and all that kind of stuff? The basic, really questions, but really it's just me just trying to get to know them. And if I vibe well with them, if we get along in the interview, learning and everything will come along. And I know that's not everybody's whole thing. And I know that everybody has that kind of capacity. I do have that kind of capacity, and that's how I chose to approach it. And it's worked out for me, but I know that's not the case for everybody. Okay. But work expectations. And before we move into this portion, I know we got about 12 minutes left, so I want to make sure there's no other questions that might be out there. We're almost wrapping up here, so anything through, I think we're okay. Mallory, do you have a question?
Thank you so much. And I know that I missed some really important information earlier when you were talking about, let me see, the previous slide. Let's see, maybe go back a few more. I know somebody asked a really important question. Let's see, building a sustainable program. The one before that. Let's
This
see,
one?
one more.
I just sent it to.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you're pitching it to your district administration and retaining that program, or excuse me, allowing it to continue or helping it continue, would have been the helpful tools to help the program continue?
Oh yeah, great question. Honestly, it was just proof in the pudding. They kind of saw the impact right away, because the moment they and I'll explain this a little bit more at the end here, but when they came in, I very much wanted them to be part of the district, and I wanted their hands in everything, right? Like if my hands are in, as long as it's not something super confidential, they are brought into the meetings with me. If I have a meeting that we have a new after school program, we want to launch it, and this is what it's going to be. For example, we have Enrichment Fridays, which is a new thing that we're launching this year, where we have 6 Fridays, optional attendance day for kids. And the way that whole thing works is used ELOC funds to do that. We are providing 6 optional attendance days. If kids do show up, they're going to have these really great themed days of learning. Our first one is next Friday, and it's all robotics. And so we have 5th graders all going on a field trip. Everybody else is building robots at their grade level, K through 8. But that was a big, important meeting, and I wanted them there, right? It was, no, you are going to be in these meetings with me as long as you're allowed to be, because I need you to help me pay attention and listen, because, there's a little bit of ADHD here, and I don't always listen very well. So I need somebody else to kind of be there when I get told tasks. But on top of that, it's them seeing them as part of it, them taking notes. I'm asking them questions and asking for their feedback right there. Even if they hardly know anything, it's just like, okay, how would you, if your sister is a parent, how does she like to get her information? My sister only reads the text messages. She doesn't look at the parent square post. Okay, so we should start texting this information to families, right? So this is like all part of that learning process. And then everything, they're at school events, they're writing content. Their office is right here. Everybody's got to pass them, so they see the work that they're doing every day. And so it wasn't really too much convincing, because I made them very much a part of my team and an extension of me. So yeah.
That's
Okay.
wonderful to hear too. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like our department did that as well. And it was wonderful to feel that support too. But we always want to think of new ways to make sure that the ball keeps rolling, and not only keeping their interest, but the students' interest in the years to come too,
Yes, that's the cool part, because one intern, like I said, was a niece for it. The other one, her mom, she's a mom in the district, and she told her daughter, who's the grad student at USC. They cornered me at a back to school night, I think. They found me at a back to school night, and the mom came up and goes, "Hey, you're the PR guy at the district?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I need you to introduce me to my daughter. She's working in PR and she's interested in doing part of your internship. When does it open up?" And that's kind of how it sparked up, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, being a face out there kind of helps a lot. So yeah. So work expectations real quick. It does get harder before it gets easier. I've told that, I said that multiple times. You are going to be teaching them. They're here to learn at the end of the day, right? They're not here to file paperwork or do all the nitty gritty stuff, even though they do that. They're here to learn. That's what I have them doing. Everything task I give them, I sit them down, I explain to them why it's important that they do it this way, why it needs to get out at a certain time. And it's all just everything that goes on in our head as communication professionals. I am just blurting that out to them, and they get deer in headlights all the time, right? They're just like, "Holy crap, I don't think this way," but they will eventually. You're mentoring them all the time. It's like Yoda for Luke. We're mentoring them, mentoring them, mentoring them. We're assigning them tasks constantly, because what's really nice, at least for my interns, all of them so far, I've had 4 now. They've been super quick to complete stuff. It's kind of amazing. They have more, they're super driven and they get it all done. And then it's all providing, constant feedback. I'm going to be honest with you, and they know this too. I've told my interns this. The first few months or a couple months of them doing stuff, it all sucks. Like, it's not very good. It doesn't make any sense. Their writing isn't always the best. They need time to adopt the language, understand our district voice and how we do things, our social media. It's not the best stuff. But teaching them, mentoring them, and providing constant feedback, it will get better. And now, like I said, I went on a trip recently for 2 weeks. I didn't get to go anywhere during the summer because we had a lot of initiatives and a lot of things that we were doing at the start of this year. It's a big year for us. So I took no time off during the summer. I took 2 weeks off just this month in October. And I kind of looked at them and I went, "I'm going to assign you all this work. You're going to report to this person, but here's everything that needs to be done. I wish you luck." And they did everything. They were great. I had feedback from my bosses and everybody that they said that everything went smoothly. They had no issues completing all the tasks. They submitted something for the local paper. Social media didn't die. We didn't go dark. It was awesome. It was a huge win for them. I was really proud of them. Now, if I'm going to be honest, when I asked them how did it all go, they both looked at me like, "Don't ever leave again." So they didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else did, but I only got great feedback from my principals and all my admins. So they did a great job for 2 weeks. I told them I would never leave them again. And so there we are. But rinse and repeat, this is what we're doing, right? So it's every day. It's teaching, mentoring, assigning tasks, and providing constant feedback. All right. And then I know this is a question I've got before, just how do you keep it organized? Work management system is how I would do it. Asana is great because you can assign them tasks. You can get a free one. If you don't want to use Asana, because I know it could be a little not super user friendly all the time. Google Calendars, Excel sheets, you can even do an email task list if you want to, but laying out and writing out the tasks are always going to be really important because it's only fair to them, if I'm being completely honest, right? You want to be fair to them. You want to give them opportunities to succeed. And so if you're organized, they will be organized. And they have actually forced me to be organized because notoriously I'm not an organized person. So yeah. And then just remember the reality, they're here to learn. Okay. So our job, at least my job, I wanted them to learn our district's culture, the voice, the systems we use, our priorities as a district, and the hurdles that we face. The declining enrollment issue is real. They need to know that. They need to understand what the challenges are. They need to know that 50% of our families make less than $30,000 a year. They need to know that 30% of our families can't read at all. So we need to cater our communication efforts to fit those things. So they need to know all of that. And I spend a lot of my time just hammering that information into them as much as possible. And really, you're giving them, for the most part, at least what I've seen, is it's their kind of first look at what professional work settings could be like. And so, especially governmental and education. So it's really teaching them how that is supposed to be done, how we should approach those things. Everything is new to them. Like I said, They're not very good at a lot in the beginning, but now you give it a few months, they're phenomenal at everything. And and at the end of the day, just give them tangible tasks, right? It's honestly, there's a lot of misconceptions about especially Gen Z and younger generations and their work ethic. I don't believe any of those things because I was also one of these young whippersnappers that nobody liked working with. So because I had ideas and I didn't ever hold them in, I always spoke my mind. But they have ideas. They're not always good ideas. Most of them are pretty bad ideas, but they're glimpses of really awesome ideas in there. And I listen to all their ideas and I tell them if I don't think it's gonna work, I explain why. But for the most part, I kind of trust them. And as long as it's not going to get us in any trouble, I'm not really worried about it. So that's the best part. Not going to get me in trouble. We're good. Let's try it. Who knows? And the big part is making them part of your culture too, right? Introduce them to your management teams. If you have management meetings, I bring them there, introduce them to everybody. I drive them around to all the schools. I know some of you might have 60 schools, so it's not possible. I have 14, but we drive them around. I go to events with them and introduce them to staff. And I bring them to community meetings, like I said, DLAC meetings, key communicators, student council meetings. I want them just ingrained in the culture because something happens to me, nothing stops, right? It's building capacity. And I've taken this approach to a lot of different positions. Like I help with ELOP a lot, our ELOP team. I've taken this and given it to the ELOP team. And because at the end of the day, if I'm not here tomorrow, I want to know that this district will continue doing all the great things without me. So at least that's just my perspective on things. And then, like I said, it's a myth about younger generations. It's not them, it's most likely us. Okay, so be patient with them and they'll come around and work with them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is just a testimonial. You can read that later. This is from my last group of interns, Annabelle. She's now traveling the world doing awesome things. One of them now works for Snapchat too. So that's just, they left here and they're doing a lot of great things. So yeah, any questions? I know we have a couple minutes here, so I apologize going a little long. Awesome. I love it. No questions.
You must have covered it all, Robert. I don't see any questions in there, but I do see why this was so highly rated, not just the content, but also how much fun you are. Oh, we do have a question that came in. How do you teach an intern how to not only care about work, but on how to put out quality work?
That's a great question. I think it's kind of leading by example. That's not trying to say that you don't care about your work or you're not putting quality work out, but that whole slide about, where is it at? This part. Teaching, mentoring, assigning tasks, and providing constant feedback. If you accept the okay, they will assume the okay is okay, if that makes any sense. The amount of times I had them redo things, right? Like, hey, this is great, but this could be better. It could be better. For the most part, I never really put them in positions that they need to get me something perfect right away, right? I won't do that to them. Now, after it's been 7 months that they've been in my program, there's a little more urgency in some of the tasks and they can respond to that. But initially, it is teaching them what quality content and quality work looks like, giving them guidance and kind of being always around if possible. Like I said, dragging them to meetings, right? Like that is really powerful because those moments of walking to a meeting or going to a meeting, that is all opportunities for you to have conversations with them and share feedback with them. Assigning specific tasks to them, and that's where Asana comes in because it's like, this is what I need you to do. It's compartmentalizing everything too, right? It's like, I need you to not just build a flyer. Actually, I need you to choose photos that you think would be good for this flyer. Now write me a couple different examples of what you think the body should be. Compartmentalizing all that out and then telling them, now put it all together into a flyer that's easy to see and visualize. That's why I said it gets harder before it gets easier, because that's where all the work is done in the beginning. When I first hire these interns, the first 2-3 months there's a lot going on for me, but I love it. I'm addicted to it because it's just a lot of fun, and they're goofy and weird because they're just, they're 10, 15 years younger than me. So it's a whole different outlook on life. So it's great. But that's kind of how I did it, right? It's just walking them through every step of the way and then telling them when they do something that isn't good, like, and explaining, but not just saying that's terrible. It's going, hey, that's not going to work for us. And this is why, and this is how we can make it better. And additionally too, because there's going to be moments where they can't all, when we all don't have, well, I hope we all don't have 8 hours of straight work every single day. I hope we get our moments of bliss at work, enjoy the slow times. A lot of it is me having YouTube videos of editing and different things, and I send it to them. And I go, hey, if you got nothing to do, or you need just, you need to walk away or step away from that flyer you're trying to make, go over here and do this, right? Or watch this video. And then they ingest information that way. So yeah, I hope that works. Any other
That's
questions?
great.
Of course.
All right. Thank you so much, Robert. Today has been fantastic. I find myself being a little bit envious of your interns because it sounds like you guys have a ton of fun in the office. So that seems like that is a good part of what makes a particular internship attractive. Speaking from a professor's perspective, the more engaging you can be when you're hiring these folks works as well.